Ubuntu, and all of the Linux Mint versions, they all cater towards that, you know, traditional desktop metaphor. Ubuntu Mate is not doing anything different in terms of the general user interface. We've got a couple of little tweaks and tricks and what have you, but every distribution has to have something that separates it from the rest of the crowd. I think we'll see more touch. I mean, I've got friends that have got computers with touch screens, and they do and run Linux. They do use the touch screens, but not as the primary way that they interact with the computer. So they use the touchpad, they use the keyboard, but when they say go to shut the computer down and it pops up the prompt, do you want to restart, reboot or log off, they actually touch the button on the screen for, you know, log off, reboot and things of that nature. So they use it for a few sort of interactions, but not as the main way they actually drive the device.
Yeah.
So more of a convenience for some.
That's how I see Angela using her yoga. It's sort of like, it's like a, you know, every now and then she'll unlock the screen that way, or move a window really quick, or scroll something. As just like a random way to just interact with it.
And my touchscreen that I've got on my device is resistive, so it's kind of antiquated. But I could see that if you were looking at map data, for example, it would be easier to move around a representation of a map on a computer with a touchscreen by using the touchscreen, because we've got accustomed to that on our phone.
Yes, very much.
Than using a mouse and keyboard. So there are some applications where it's better, and this is why I think things are going to come along that are better than the keyboard and the mouse.
Yeah, good point. I think that is well put. Mini-MC. You want to make a point about how resolution on the desktop sometimes matters. Like I have like a 2K monitor on my desktop.
Yeah, it's a question of finger size. I mean, if you have a full HD display with a normal laptop, it's very easy it's not easy to find the points really to touch on the screen. But with a bigger resolution like the one I have now, it's better. It's working somehow. It's not a full HD resolution I have.
So the touch targets are a little more friendly.
Much more friendly.
Yeah. Huh.
Yeah.
Well,
how do you want to kill an application if you have to point at that X and you don't touch that X with the right corner and it doesn't close?
Right. Yeah, that does make sense. And the icon launchers are going to be more like towards the size of your fingers. So when you're nubbing it, you're hitting it dead on. It's an interesting thing. I'd like to hear people's feedback too. Yeah, go ahead.
So Chris, did you see Project Solia a few weeks ago?
No, what is it?
Hang on a second, I should post it in the chat.
Project Solia?
It's a Google project.
Oh.
And when I was talking about new and interesting ways to interact with your computer, this is kind of, well, it's just amazing.
Yeah, I think I did actually see this.
This is
yes. In fact, I covered this in Tech Talk.
It's extremely fast.
Right. It's like using
radar to do fine user interaction controls and things of that nature.
Finesse of human actions, the finesse of using our hands and applying to the virtual world.
I love this actually. I'm going to play this because this is so fascinating.
Which is radars to track human hand.
I'm doing it on Linux. Oh yeah, we covered this in last. That's why I know this. This was our Runs Linux. So look at this. Check this out. By the way, they're doing these on MacBooks running Ubuntu, and so they have these tiny devices that are emitting radar, and they're tracking finger movements. And what I love about this is, you know, it's going to work. Oh, that's that one. There's a finger. You know, it's going to work because they're doing the development under Linux.
Track cars, big objects, the satellites and planes. We're using them to track micro motions, twitches of human hands. They'll use it to interact with the wearables and internal things.
Now look at this.
Devices.
And what's great is you get tactile feedback because your fingers are real.
Our team is focused on taking radar hardware and turning it into a gesture sensor. Radar is a technology which transmits a radio wave towards a target, and then the receiver of the radar intercepts the reflected energy from that target. The reason why we're able to interpret so much from this one radar signal is because of the full gesture recognition pipeline that we
strange foreign range Doppler signals, we're actually interpreting human intent. Radar has some unique properties when compared to cameras, for example. It has very high positional accuracy, which means that you can sense the tiniest motions. We arrived at this idea of virtual tools because we recognize that there's certain archetypes of controls, like volume or a physical slider.
Look at that. Look at that.
Imagine a button between your thumb and your index finger, and the button's not there, but pressing this is a very clear action, and there's an actual physical haptic feedback that occurs as you perform that action. The hand can both embody that virtual tool, and it can also be acting on that virtual tool at the same time. So if we can recognize that action, we have an interesting direction for interacting with technology.
Now that is a type of interaction that I think make a lot of sense on a laptop or on a desktop. Imagine just having that built into the casing of the laptop or a keyboard, so there would be another input method that's included in that device. Yeah, I want that. That's exactly the kind of input method I think that I would love to see come to the desktop or laptop or phones even, I suppose, or TVs even.
I think, yeah, or equipment. DVD player, Blu-ray player.
Yeah.
Instead of having great big ugly knobs on things.
Huge for VR. This could be huge for VR. Wow. Man. That is so cool. I hope Google I hope that comes to market. Sometimes they come with amazing things in Scopes Labs. They never make it out. I hope that one makes it out. That's cool. Alright, well we actually have another really cool project that really tugs on my heartstrings that I want to talk about. And I think actually it could be something you could host on a DigitalOcean Droplet. So let's start there. Let's talk about DigitalOcean, our first sponsor this week. And I just want to tell you up front, if you know about DigitalOcean, grab our promo code DO1Plug. We're able to make Rock and Oaks Action Show subreddit submitted this butter knife to play a customized Linux to hundreds of machines in minutes. Now you can probably guess why they call it butter knife, because yes, my friends, it involves butter FS. Check this out. Butter knife makes bare metal Linux deployment dead simple using the butter FS file system and containers. Yeah, how fancy and buzzwordy can we get? Let's take a whole bunch of new stuff, put it all together, and get yourself a new deployment system, my friends. So you prepare a template of a customized OS and an LXC container. Brilliant. So you customize your rig up in a Linux container, visual image and deploy it with a bare metal, and you just get it, and then you just set it up and it's done. And so I have a walkthrough that I actually link this to. And literally you pull down the butter knife ISO, and you take care of that, you DD it as you can. You set up a TFTP server. I'll be using butter knife for visual image on your LAN. You replicate your GitHub repository to the TFTP root server. You move the machine either from Pixie or a movement memory stick or CD. Then you follow it. It'll once it moves off Pixie, it detects the butter knife.
Turn left, and that's where I work.
So do you want to provision this machine? Do you want to reboot this machine, power it off? You obviously say provision this machine. Then the butter knife wipes the disk, creates a butter FS file system, downloads a snapshot of the newly created file system on that Linux container you set up, and blasts it onto the machine. And you can even deploy live CDs onto a memory stick as well. And it's all just right here on this blog right here that Black Hat will link to us. With just to kind of do this and try this out right here. This is pretty awesome. You know what you can do before if you have some virtual machines. And you just need to be able to blast a machine on a standardized machine out. This makes it like a 4 or 5 step process once you have this set up. You gotta use butter FS. You gotta use Linux containers. But this butter knife system makes it really, really, really easy to go into a container, set up a basic system, and then you can provision that to all your machines. Really cool. So I wanted to say a special thank you to Mr. Blackout. Now, that said, so that's a fancy way to do it. Wimpy, I'm wondering, do you have any tricks or methods for like reloading your systems? Do you have like an image you do at home, or when you need to reload, do you just format and deploy?
Right. So when I install a system, I install off the Ubuntu Mate ISO image, depending on the architecture of the machine, or it's the Raspberry Pi. trick that I have is that I use SyncThing now. Yay! So SyncThing, I have my profile stored in SyncThing. So the first thing I do on the new machine is install SyncThing.
You mean like your bash profile, or what do you mean profile?
Well, yeah, as in all of my profiles. So
like all your dot folders?
All my dot files, dot folders. So there's a utility I use. I'll look up the details and post it in the chat room in a bit.
Okay.
It's called Mackup, M-A-C-K-U-P, and it was originally developed for Apple Mac users to back up their dot files and what have you to Dropbox. And I contributed some initial ports for Linux, and since the initial, it was all geared toward Dropbox back when it first started, but now it's got just any directory you can use as the storage.
Ooh.
So I just have a SyncThing directory, and it does all of the you know, the symlinking magic. So you just restore your SyncThing profile directory, and then in there I run a Mackup restore, and then it lays down all of the profiles for me. So literally within a minute of installing the machine, I've got all of my configuration in place.
Do you run into any issues with version differences, or is the key to this approach you reload the same version of the desktop environment, the same Chrome or Firefox? Like, do you have to manage it in any kind of special way like that?
I haven't been very careful about it, no. I mean, mostly I'm running Ubuntu Mate 15.04 and Arch Linux, and they're all up to date enough that I've not run into any problems.
Interesting.
But when you use Mackup, you can, you know, augment things. You don't have to. It will prompt you and say, do you want to restore this thing? So I do know, for example, that my Bash profile and Arch Linux, I don't want to have common between Ubuntu and Arch, so I don't, you know, restore that on the Arch machines.
Gotcha. So that is some management, but yeah.
Yeah, but it prompts me for that because it knows there's already a Bash profile there that's different. And the other thing that I've had some good success with SyncThing.
With the humidity, it is 110 degrees.
The other thing that I've been doing recently is that DCOM, which is the back end behind G settings, you can dump. There's decomp, and the parameter is dump, and there's also decomp load. So you can dump all or some trees from decomp into text files, and then you can decomp load those text files back into your tree. So I've got a script that just dumps out the bits of the decomp tree that I know are safe and common between my systems. So things like how I like the file manager configured, how I like the text editor configured. And then I can, you know, that's part of my Mackup post restore script, actually then, you know, lobs all that back in again.
Oh God, so you're getting like even like your editor config back the way you want it and stuff.
Everything,
oh,
you know,
that's
SSH
nice.
keys, GPG keys, all of my application settings. So when I do a restore, I've got my hex chat configuration, which actually makes my bells. But let's see this. And I've got so I run a backup restore, and on a fresh machine, within 2 minutes I've got everything I need to get cracking again.
Nice. Now, Sean, you say you use something kind of similar with Symlinks and OwnCloud. Can you describe that to me?
Well, really a lot of it's done manually, but basically you just take all your doc folders and throw them into your OwnCloud sync folder, and then you just symlink the individual doc folders from your home folder to your OwnCloud folder, and then it's just going to replicate that on multiple systems if you want to.
Okay. And then when you like launch into a clean install, you just kind of sort of re-symlink the ones you want to restore the config from manually, or do you like bash script that, or what's your approach there?
I haven't gone into the bash scripting part of it yet. I usually just do the symlinking manually for the ones that I want to add. That way I can actually have multiple versions and just kind of rename them and change the syntax that way.
I like that. I mean, what I like about yours is yours is a little more surgical in the sense that you're just gonna, you know what, I want XYZ restored. What I really like though is Wimpy's idea about exporting out decomp settings. Because I know it can do that. I know it can do that. I just never do that. And sometimes I tell myself I don't do it because, well, I like to re-experiment and try something new every time I set up. I want to be free to try something new, but really, I am getting to the point where, like,
computer place.
I always like to have